Go right, start, go left, start. Yeah. Go right one more. Perfect, go back. Okay, who's driving the street? Smooth.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما. My dear respected elders, brothers, sisters, listen at home. I greet you with the best of greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, inshallah, we'll go through part 31 of the seerah of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the best of creations. Like we have been going through the conquest of Makkah, and inshallah today we will carry on and finishing off the conquest of Makkah and what else took place in the conquest of Makkah. So just to recap from last week, roughly what happened. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam entered Makkah victorious. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he entered from different regions, he split up the army, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam entered with approximately 10,000 soldiers. Approximately 10,000 soldiers. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had the seeker coveted from Medina Munawwara, and they went and to conquer Makkah al-Mukarramah. A few battles, a few skirmishes took place, which Khalid bin Walid was involved in this matter. And again, just to confirm that it wasn't the Muslim who started the skirmish, it wasn't the Muslim who started the battle in the first place. Khalid bin Walid, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave strict order not to engage in any battle whatsoever. But when the enemy of Islam, when they attacked Khalid bin Walid and his army, Khalid bin Walid at this particular time he defended. This is the time that he defended himself and the army defended, and this was skirmish that took place and which caught the eye of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam also as well, which we went through last week, what also took place as well. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he made his way to the Kaaba. So he's conquered, he's taken over, and he's made his way to the Kaaba where all the idols, 360 idols, he destroyed every single idol there was. Then he entered the Kaaba itself, the pictures that were there, he got rid of all the pictures, and then washed the Kaaba itself with Zamzam water. Yeah, he prayed Salah inside there as well. And also in each corner of the Kaaba, he pronounced the Takbir, yeah, and Tahleel. So this that took place from the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Then moving on from that, what else took place last week is that the keys of the Kaaba. The keys of the Kaaba were given to Uthman ibn Talha. So again, it's in the family, and the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned last week as well that the keys of the Kaaba will stay within the family of Uthman ibn Talha. The only way that it will be taken away from him is either through forceful or theft, meaning some you can say king or tyrant comes and takes away forcefully, or the other option is that someone steals it from him. Otherwise, it's mentioned, and this was ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the keys to be given to him. And Abu Manzura, Abu Manzura was made the mu'adhin of Makkah. Abu Manzura then was a young child. Yeah, 16 years old. I think he's young, 16 years old. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard his voice, when he was imitating Hazrat Bilal radiallahu anh, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he loved this. He loved the voice that he had, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after he accepted Islam, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made him the mu'adhin of Makkah. Now, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam then addressed the people and confirmed the sacred status of the haram. Just to clarify again, generally speaking, in the haram you're not allowed to kill whatsoever. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given this permission for the short amount of time, that by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that killing in the haram for this short amount of time will be permissible for now. Otherwise, anything to uproot trees, to do anything in the haram, is impermissible till the day of judgment. Then the Ansar radiallahu anhum ajma'in, the helpers who when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went to Madinah Munawwara, the Ansar that were there, when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was announcing, when he was giving the khutbah, the Ansar naturally had this feeling that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is going to stay in his hometown, his birthplace, back in Makkah. Yeah. So the Ansar radiallahu anhum had this feeling. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was informed of this. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was informed of this, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam addressed the Ansar. I am going to come back. He consoled them. Yeah, don't worry, I am going to come back with you, back to Madinah Munawwara. This gave the Ansar that relief, and the Ansar also made them happy in this matter. Then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam started to get the pledges, allegiance from the men and the women. And we've gone through this as well in the Quran, that I mentioned the Quran as well. So we've gone through all last week, and inshallah today we're carrying on what else took place. So right now, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is at the door of the Kaaba. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has given a second khutbah. He's at the door of the Kaaba. He's given the second khutbah. He finished on his second khutbah. And now what happened? Now some Sahaba radiallahu anhum had this. Imagine, you were living in Makkah. You had this place. You were living all your life in Makkah. And then all of a sudden, after you accepted Islam, the Quraysh of Makkah, the Mushrikeen of Makkah, they forced you out. They forced you out from there. Remember, they didn't take the house with them. They didn't take their luggage with them. They took whatever little they could take, and they migrated to Medina. So every single thing that was left behind, the Quraysh took every single thing that was there. So this is where now, imagine it's natural that you want your belongings back. So this is exactly what took place here as well. So when the Muhajirin had left the city of Makkah, every single thing of the belongings the Quraysh had taken. So when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he finished his second khutbah, Abu Ahmad ibn Jahsh radiallahu anhum got up and wanted to ask about his house, which Abu Sufyan had sold for 400 dirhams. Then this took place after they left Makkah. Rasulullah, so when he heard this, and when he heard Ahmad ibn Jahsh mention this, Abu Ahmad ibn Jahsh mentioned this, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam called him, said, Abu Ahmad, come here. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he mentioned to him something quiet to him. Yeah, he whispered something to him. That as soon as he heard the words Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Abu Ahmad, he said quiet. So it's naturally, obviously, imagine what was said to him. So in the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they asked him, though, Abu Ahmad, what was said to you? Yeah, what did Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam say to you? He replied, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told him that if he stayed quiet and he stays patient, it'd be better for him. Yeah, and in exchange, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant him a house in Jannah. Yeah. So this is what made Abu Ahmad ibn Jahsh, made him go quiet, made him go silent, and also granted him patience. Because in the end, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the many Sahaba radiallahu anhum, Nabi also worked on them in such a way that they did not want the world at all. Their main focus was where? The akhirah. Same with us as well, our main focus. Sometimes we lose our sight. It's a natural thing as a human being, we lose our sight, and also because we live in this world, it's a world of means, it's natural to lose our sight of the akhirah, and that we want things here. Yeah. And it's nothing wrong with it. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam molded the Sahaba in such a way that they sacrificed everything in this world. That they only wanted akhirah. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned this to Abu Ahmad, yeah, that better if you say, Allah Ta'ala will give you better house. And house in Jannah is something that's never can never be taken away. It will never break. Will never ever be demolished. Will never ever even anything will happen to it. It will not even get old. So this is a mindset that this was made but of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Yeah. The mindset that was made of Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and this is why when they heard the word of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, straight away he remained silent and he accepted what Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. So apart from him, Abu Ahmad after he got up, there were some other muhajirin also as well that desired the houses that were retained to them. Again, as I mentioned, nothing wrong with it. It's natural. Yeah, it's a natural thing. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what did his Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam say this after this? That wealth which has gone in the path of Allah, I do not prefer its return. Meaning that when the Sahaba, when they migrated from Mecca to Medina, when they migrated from Mecca and Medina, what was the reason? Why did they migrate from Mecca and Medina? For what was the main purpose? For Allah and His Rasul, meaning for Islam. Yeah, they migrated from Mecca to Medina only for Allah and the Rasul. That was the main reason they migrated. So anything that happens, they left their houses, they left everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever happens to that house now, whatever happened to it, is all reward for them. Every single piece of it will be reward for the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. This is why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that whatever has gone in the path of Allah, that's gone in the path of Allah. Yeah, I don't want that back now, because if you ask for it back, that reward is gonna go. Let it go. Let all of it go now. So when the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, when they heard this as well, yeah, every single one of them stayed quiet and they made no mention of the house again. Because again, they sacrificed their lives, yes, they have sacrificed every single thing for Allah and the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and if again, remember, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has conquered. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has come, he's conquered, he's got everything under his control now. If Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to, he could have asked for his own house back. He could have said that I want my own house back. Then the house I lived in, the house I was born in. Yeah, the house of Abdullah, his Nabi Sallallahu father. Or again, even another house of Hazrat Khadija radiallahu anha. So again, Nabi Sallallahu had the chance, but Nabi Sallallahu, what's gone has gone. Yeah. Everything Allah Ta'ala will reward us for that. So this again, lead by example. Nabi Sallallahu is leading by example, and again, this is a big thing. This lead by example, this one particular phrase is a very big thing. And this again, it goes to every single one of us here as well. We want to tell other people about Islam, but what is the best way is leading by example. Lead by example, and automatically other people will see that, other people follow. This is a big factor. Again, this is a lesson throughout full life. It works in every single field as well. You lead by example, other people naturally will follow that example as well. And this is what Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was doing, leading by example. So right now, obviously in the last previous sessions, we were looking at a few maps. So right now, as you can see, we're going. This is all the valley. Yeah, we also saw the mountains and the valley through which you could see Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to the city. Now this short clip shows a 3D presentation of Makkah coming in from the south side. Yeah, again, it's hard to understand. I'm not saying it's easy to understand. It's probably hard to understand this part by looking at this one piece right now. But this image that was given right now, again, it was recreated. It was recreated to such a degree that to try to make it understand how it was in the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or roughly how it would have looked in the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what we see right now is the Kaaba. Okay, right in front of it is Kaaba. What we see right now is the Kaaba. Sorry. as it gets towards the Kaaba again, I'll show you that again the Kaaba is raised. We see nowadays as well, the door of the Kaaba is not ground floor and ground level anymore. It's raised up. And exactly this is the same thing that happened here as well. When the Quraysh, when they rebuilt the Kaaba in the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, before prophethood, when they rebuilt the Kaaba, original Kaaba had two doors. Yeah, one to enter, one to exit. Original Kaaba had two doors. And at that particular time, the Kaaba, the doors of the Kaaba was on the floor, meaning from the ground. So anyone could enter, anyone could exit. But when the Quraysh, when they rebuilt it, they built the Kaaba in such a way that the door was higher. And the reason for that was, again, even nowadays as well, the reason for that is only particular people can enter, and not anyone can enter, basically. Yeah, only those people who are chosen or those people who are honored to enter the Kaaba. So what they did here, they raised the Kaaba, they put stairs there, just the way nowadays when they have put stairs there to enter the Kaaba. And from the other side, the door was blocked off, meaning they covered that door. There was no door anymore. So this is exactly the way the Kaaba is right now is the way it was built in the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And this was the main purpose for it. That and not anyone can enter anymore, only those people who are chosen or they can control. Probably better to say to control who can enter the Kaaba itself. Not anyone just can enter. So that's the Kaaba the way it is right now, and more or less a similar thing. The Hatim, the semicircle we see at the front, again, was part of the Kaaba at the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Yeah, the Kaaba, original Kaaba was a lot bigger. But again, due to the fact that the wealth that they used, that the halal wealth that they had, there wasn't sufficient to make the Kaaba to that full size. This is where we see the Hatims. And now, generally speaking, if you pray in the Hatim, it's like you're praying in the Kaaba itself. So again, this is an honor. You can say it's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we could have made the door such a way that we can't enter the Kaaba anymore. Fine. But Allah Ta'ala has, through His wisdom, Allah Ta'ala will know what He does. You want to do one thing, but Allah Ta'ala still made us a way for us to still come in the Kaaba and still read in the Kaaba by making the Hatim. By making the Hatim, and whenever you read in the Hatim, it's like you're reading in the original Kaaba itself. Now moving towards the bottom left. The bottom left, you will see the well of Zamzam. Originally, again, those people that have been for Hajj, or especially not now, but I'm talking about probably previous to 2000, I think before they blocked the well off. Yeah, you could see the well. But now, and not anymore, it's all been covered up. Yeah, we have no chance now at all. But before that, you could see the well. And this is the way the well was here as well. But what they had here, the well of Zamzam, obviously it's been raised right now just to show you roughly where Zamzam well is. But originally it would have been flat, it would have been on the ground. Yeah. There were two troughs that were there. Yeah, troughs basically is like just behind the well, you see like a little canal for people to either drink water or for washing clothes, etc. So there are two of them. Again, and there's the main reason: one to drink water, and one to wash the clothes, etc. What this was for. So this is, generally speaking, the Kaaba, or tried to redesign the way the Kaaba would have looked in the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now, the way you see right now is empty, but before the conquest of Makkah, this full area would have been covered with idols. Yeah, 360 idols everywhere around the Kaaba. This is the Nur of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that came in and destroyed every single thing. Now moving on from there, the next slide you see from here is the house of Hani. Hani radiallahu anha was the cousin sister of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So Hani's house radiallahu anha, Ruki Yamani. Ruki Yamani is the corner before the Hajar Aswad. Ruki Yamani is the corner before the Hajar Aswad. So directly opposite that, in the sense, you can see if we were to look right now, obviously, again, it's all covered, but that's roughly where the house of Hani radiallahu anha used to be. And from the Hatim side, in front of the Hatim, or that opposite the Hatim, Dawud Nadwa was there. So again, these are just few things we are going through of trying to show that roughly where everything was in time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then we can move on from there to the house of Khadija radiallahu anha and Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu. This is where Al-Marwa, the mountain Al-Marwa, or when we do Safa Al-Marwa, So the Marwa, where we go to the other side. So where that mountain was, this is where the house of the Khadija radiallahu anha and Abu Sufyan also used to be. Yeah, along that side. And moving on more towards if you stand up Marwa and look, depending on which way you're looking at, but if you look on the right hand side if you go to Marwa and look right, those of you who've been to Umrah or for Hajj, you might have gone to the library, yeah, where they show that this is where the birthplace of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is exactly where it is as well. Yeah, so the house this is where the land was the place of Quraysh. So Abdullah, Nabi Sallallahu father or Nabi Sallallahu birthplace. Then you've got Abu Lahab's house. Again around there, Abu Talib's house as well. So all these they used to live in close proximity within each other. This is obviously nowadays the Haram the way it looks right now. Yeah, the way the Haram looks right now is completely different now, mashallah. It's unrecognizable the way it is right now. But if you look at obviously the top of it, so if you go towards the top here, that's where Marwa is. Yeah, the second part of it, if you can just see the mouth, I'm not sure you can see the mouth there, but that's where Marwa is. And right up to the Marwa, where the pinpoint is where Maktab, obviously where the Makatib is, or where the house of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is now. That house has been changed. Obviously, they've made it's not a house anymore. Yeah. Now is it Maktaba Makkadul Mukarrama. So this is what is now. This is the place or the birthplace of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'm not sure if you can enter or if it's open every single time. I can't remember. I don't think it's open every single time. It is hard. A lot of people, it used to be open before, but I don't think anymore. Again, they have the reasons because again, generally what happens is sometimes people go over the board and do things that are not permissible. Yeah, which can go into shirk as well sometimes. And this is something we need to be very careful of. Yeah, be very careful of things that we do not commit any shirk. When it comes to these kind of matters, when it comes to matters of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yes, we honor Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We love Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everything that he's been, everything he's touched, we love and honor that as well. But not to the extent that we start to worship that thing, or we start to make dua to that thing, particular thing that this thing is giving me shifa, or this thing is giving me help, or this is the thing that everything comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a mindset that we need to be careful of. It happens through the love. Whenever someone has so much love, sometimes you can lose your senses, and it can happen. But we need to be careful that we don't fall into shirk when it comes to these kind of matters as well. Moving on from there, now we've got so you can see the Kaaba in the middle, roughly where Kaaba is. Now from the south side, going from the south side, you'll see the house of Al-Khattab. Umar radiallahu anhu, where he grew up. And not far from there is a house of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu as well. Yeah. So they weren't very far from each other. Makkah wasn't that big of a place. Makkah wasn't that big. You can see everyone lived more or less within close proximity. Very close proximity. And the mountain on the left hand side here is called Jabal Umar, meaning the mountain of Umar radiallahu anhu. Again, it's a name right now, but I think right now they've built. I've seen towers there. Different. It's changed. It's not what it is. It's still there. It's still called Jabal Umar. But again, you see now if you go there now, you'll see they built quite a lot of towers there or different things there. So this is just a kind of a history lesson, or trying to reimagine, or for us to understand the way that the Kaaba, the way Makkah was at the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now going back into the conquest of Makkah. What else took place in conquest of Makkah? The general pardon. Previous lesson, when Abu Sufyan, when he accepted Islam, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam honored him with because he was a leader. He was a leader of Quraysh as well. So to honor his leadership, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, okay, when you go back to Makkah, shout out to the people of Makkah that whoever goes into the house of Abu Sufyan is safe. Whoever goes into their own house and lock their doors are safe. And whoever goes to the Kaaba are also safe. So this again, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave security to all those people. All those people that had did this, they were all given security. There were few of them that had committed a serious crime. That committed a serious crime which Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not give them security. Allah Ta'ala mentioned the Quran. Yeah. ملعونين أينما ثقفوا أخذوا وقتلوا تقتيلا سنة الله في الذي خلق من قبل ولن تجد لسنة الله تبديلا. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that they'll be cursed wherever they are found. They will be seized and put to death. Such has been the way of Allah with those who passed away. And you will not find Allah's ways changing. Again, to respect the honor of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this way is to respect the honor of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah, of Allah's messenger, Allah Ta'ala, and help to defend him. So every single, to help and honor the messenger of Allah Ta'ala and help to defend him, every single one is incumbent upon every single one of the ummah. Yeah, showing disrespect to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have to protect the honor of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is compulsory. It's every single one. As soon as you hear anyone that disrespects Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the religion, no one should stay quiet. You should raise your voice. You should say something. Not saying if you obviously do something wrong, but in a civilized manner. Yeah, civilized manner. You should say something else. Now with these partitions, there are different ways you can do. But again, staying quiet and not doing anything about it, what does that show? Yeah, the lack of love of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is where Allah Ta'ala in the Quran mentioned that we have to honor, we have to protect the honor of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there was approximately 15 or 16 people. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam initially mentioned that these people have not got any amnesty. They have not got no protection. These people are the ones you find them wherever they are, and you get rid of them. Yeah. But inshallah, we'll go through who are the 15, 16 people. We'll go through that right now. These kind of who are they. Some accept Islam, some never. So the first one, Abdullah ibn Khattab. So Abdullah ibn Khattab, he embraced Islam. So he embraced Islam. Issue what happened now, he embraced Islam. But this is the time when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam first, he embraced Islam, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent him as a tax collector. Yeah, to collect zakah from people. So what happened, he had, at this particular time, he had a servant with him and an Ansar to help him out as well. So when they stopped at a place, when they reached a destination, Ibn Khattab, he told his servant that, okay, make food. Make food for us. But the servant obviously went to sleep. Ibn Khattab went to sleep. And when Ibn Khattab, when he woke up, he saw that the food was not prepared at all. So as soon as he saw this, he got angry and he killed his servant. Straight away, he killed his servant. Now, obviously, if you're a Muslim, you've killed a servant, and now you know that consequences, obviously, there are going to be consequences. Yeah. In Islam, there are consequences. So when he knew that, okay, I've done something wrong, when he realized that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's going to get me and I have to answer for what I've done right now, he left Islam. He left Islam and he went and joined the Quraysh of Makkah. And obviously, when he went away, he also took with him the zakat, the things that he collected of zakat, he also took those things with him as well. So now he's gone and he's joined the people of Makkah. Okay. So when he went back to Makkah, what he started doing? He didn't stay quiet. He didn't stay about I won't say anything. I'll just stay quiet. I'll stay away from. I'll stay away. He started to make mockery of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a poet. Majority of the Arabs, they were poets. They knew how to read poetry. They knew how to do poetry. So using his poetry, of the power of poetry, what he started doing, he started to make fun of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also he used to command his slave girls to also recite his poems as well. So he has committed how many crimes? He committed 3 crimes. Number one, he shed innocent blood by killing his servant. Number two, he left Islam, became murtad, apostate. Yeah. And number three, yeah, he used to compile poetry and he used to recite poetry and also tell his slave girls to recite poetry to disgrace Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are the 3 crimes that he committed. On the day of conquest of Makkah, he was actually at the Kaaba, holding onto the Kaaba. They're holding onto the Kaaba. That, he wanted, what did the Nabi Sallallahu mentioned? Whoever's at the Kaaba as well, they're safe. But 15 16 people that were not safe. No man, doesn't matter where they are. So this particular person was one of them as well. He wrapped himself around the Kaaba, hoping that he gets away with it. But for him, sentence was given to him, meaning that death. So the 2 Sahabas came, they went to him and they finished him off. Now the slave girls of Abdullah ibn Khattab, when the polytheists of Makkah would get together, they would sing songs ridiculing Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mocking Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 2 of Abdullah ibn Khattab's slave girls were also sentenced as well. They were finished, they were killed. One of the slave girls sought security and she was granted and embraced Islam. So one of the slave girls, she embraced Islam. Other one didn't. One did. Sarah was the slave girl of someone from Banu Abdul Muttalib. Now, who the particular person was, you might have, if you remember, if from the conquest of Makkah, when we first started conquest of Makkah, if you remember the letter, if you remember a letter was being sent, and one of the girls had the letter in their hair. Yeah, she covered in the hair. This is who we're talking about right now. She also used to mock Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's different opinion what happened to her. Some say that she was killed, and some say no, she embraced Islam and lived until the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. So again, different opinion what happened here. And this was the same woman. This was the same woman that took the letter from Hatib and she was the same woman that it was in her hair. Yeah, when the Sahaba stopped, when Nabi Sallallahu was informed about this particular thing, and Nabi Sallallahu sent the Sahaba to go get that letter before it reaches Makkah. Yeah, because remember, Nabi Sallallahu secretly got the Sahaba ready from Medina to go and conquer Makkah at that time. So the Nabi Sallallahu didn't want the Makkah to find at all whatsoever what happened. Again, more detail will be, if you have to check part 1 out, to go in more detail for that. Now you've got Huwayrith ibn Naqid and Muqis ibn Sabana. Huwayrith was a poet and used to write poems making fun of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Remember I mentioned majority of the people, they were all poets. Right? Majority of Makkah, their language, or they used to love poetry. This is what they used to do, and this is what they used to love. Ali radiallahu an finished him off. That was his sentence. He making fun of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and again, what I mentioned at the beginning, if you're making, you have to honor and protect the honor of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah, and again, these people they were trying to degrade the honor of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam he took this matter that these people are not being granted any amnesty, they're not being granted any protection. These people need to be finished off because this is what they are doing. They're degrading the honor, or they're trying to degrade the honor of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muqis ibn Sabana had initially embraced Islam. Yeah. In the battle of the Qirad, an Ansari had accidentally, he had initially embraced Islam. So again, initially he became Muslim. Now in the battle of the Qirad, an Ansari had accidentally killed his brother, Hisham. Accidentally, because he thought that he was an enemy of Islam. When he was fighting, and he accidentally killed him. Yet not knowing, obviously, it happened, it was an accident, and it took place. So when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam found out about this, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered to give blood money. And he accepted this. Okay, well, you kill my brother, and obviously an accident. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the Ansar, okay, give the blood money to settle the dispute. Yeah. So at this particular time, he accepted it and he said, okay, that's fine. We'll set the deal. He will finish off here. But after taking the blood money, Muqis murdered or he killed, yeah, the Ansari. And then he turned his back on Islam and left for Mecca. The sentence was also passed on him by Ghayla ibn Abdullah al-Laythi radiyallahu anhu. Now Abdullah ibn Sa'ad ibn Sara. He was again, who was he? He was a milk brother of Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu. Now, okay, if you imagine if the milk brother, so that for in those times they like brothers. Yeah, again, Uthman radiyallahu anhu, when he found out about this, what did he do? Uthman radiyallahu anhu took him and brought him to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And what he used to be one of the scribes of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He used to write down the revelation. So it wasn't any person. He used to write down the revelation that's come down. Nabi sallallahu, you have quite a few people who write the revelation. Yeah, he was one of them as well. So when he left Islam and joined disbelievers on day of conquest, saved his own life. Yeah. So to save his own life, he went and hid. So Uthman radiallahu anhu went with him to Nabi sallallahu. So he found him. Uthman found him and went with him took him to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But Nabi sallallahu was taking pledges from everyone. Nabi sallallahu was taking pledges. Uthman radiallahu anhu took him also as well to take the pledge and to go to him and to say pledge your allegiance to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now Uthman radiallahu anhu said to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, so Abdullah is here, take pledge from him as well. Now in Surah Mustafa, he mentions Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam remained quiet. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam remained quiet, he did it not only once, he did it a few times. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he's come, he took for a pledge. He's come to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, Ya Rasulullah, can please take pledge from me. Uthman is requesting Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, please take his pledge. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam didn't take it. Not once, not twice, but quite a few times. Quite a few times. After Nabi, so Uthman, he put his request for quite a few times. And after a few times, after Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he accepted his pledge. So Abdullah, he embraced Islam truthfully, and later in life he became a governor of Egypt in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu and Uthman radiallahu anhu. Yeah. He won a great victory in Africa when the bounty was distributed. Each person got 3,000. This happened in the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu, approximately 28 after Hijrah. Now, what took place before that? When he came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after this happened, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the Sahaba, and this was in this, it says Mustafa, it's inside there, that when I move, why didn't any of you stand up for? Meaning that why did any of you attack him for? Yeah, because the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam took his hand back from him. He didn't take his pledge. So why did any of you not attack him? Yeah. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Rasulullah, we didn't know what to do. If we indicate to it, Nabi sallallahu no. So when I took my hand back, when I did take a pledge from him, this should have been an indication automatically that you should have finished him off. Yeah. So this is Mustafa. So again, the reason for that, because initially Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because what the things that he did, to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, everything I did to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam became one reason. He also became murtad as well. Yeah, he became apostate. And Islam, obviously, we know what the penalty for that is as well. So this is when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam took his hand back a few times. It was the indication from the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum to kind of finish him up. Obviously, Allah has planned as well. Allah Ta'ala wanted him to accept Islam. That happened, and in the end, he became a governor of Egypt as well. But this is something that also took place, or something that took place within this conversation, within this particular situation. After passing away of Uthman radiallahu anhu, he stayed away from the conflict and didn't pledge allegiance to either Muawiyah radiallahu anhu or Ali radiallahu anhu. Sorry, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu and Ali radiallahu anhu. Now this, again, it'll come, inshallah, obviously, this will be after Sirah, when it comes to history. A misunderstanding, because they took place. A very big misunderstanding took place in which Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu and Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, both of them, obviously they clashed with each other obviously in battle. So Abdullah ibn Sa'ad, even though he was present at that particular time, he didn't pledge any allegiance to any side at all. He kept himself away from that. And again, we'll come more in detail, inshallah, as I said, when the history of Islam starts off, or the Khalifa, when we talk about the Khalifa radiallahu anhu ajma'een, inshallah, we'll come more detail exactly what took place and what happened after that as well. So, how did he pass away? The way he passed away, that one morning he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That he made dua to Allah, make my final action be in the morning. Make my final action be in the morning. So when he made wudu, he prayed his salah. And after he did his first salam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, before his second salam, Allah Ta'ala, his soul was taken away. So his dua was accepted. He wanted to pass away in the morning, Fajr time, because then they probably Fajr time as well. And this is the way that he passed away. Again, it shows a sign of acceptance as well. It shows a sign of acceptance. It's just a lot of time you will see from what we learn. One of the things we learn from here: never judge a person from his past. Never judge a person. Allah Ta'ala, he could be one of the worst people ever. But once Allah Ta'ala enters the light of Islam in the heart, they become the best people as well. Yeah. They never judge a person. When people change, yeah, never bring the past. Oh, you were like this before. We have this habit as well, unfortunately. It's an illness that we have sometimes. It's an illness that we have sometimes. That what we do, I'll say, oh, you were like this before, man. No, you were before was before. Now is now. Allah Ta'ala, once Allah Ta'ala puts something in the heart and they change, don't bring the past up that you were like this before. No, it's present, and we will talk about present only. Yeah, everyone had the past. Even from the Sahaba as well, they all had a past. Yeah, a lot of the Sahaba had a past as well. Some even coming out to kill Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, like Umar radiallahu anhu, and look how he became. So when we see people that change, alhamdulillah, we should embrace that and don't bring up the past. Leave the past where it is, where it belongs in the past, and only help and look at the present only, and how can better the future. Now, Ikrimah ibn Abu Jahl is in the name. Ibn Abu Jahl, the son of Abu Jahl. Like his father, Ikrimah was also a staunch enemy of Islam. He was also he used to hate Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he used to hate Islam. Again, following his father's footsteps. And after the conquest of Makkah, he fled to Yemen. Ikrimah's wife, Hakim, embraced Islam and asked Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam for security for her husband. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam accepted security for her husband. So he's gone away to Yemen. He's fled to Yemen. He's got to the shore of Yemen. Yeah, he's got the course around there, and he's gone onto a boat. Yeah, he's gone onto the boat, and now all of a sudden, a lot of strong winds started to come. A lot of strong winds started and came and stopped the boat from moving. So, what did he do? Obviously, at this particular time, remember, he's still a polytheist. He's not. He's still a mushrikeen. He's not accepted Islam as of yet. So, what did he do? Yeah, well, he starts to call out Lat and Uzza. Lat and Uzza are two particular names, or you can say they're very respectful in these respect those two idols. Very high. Yeah. So he called out Lat and Uzza. And also the third one was called Manat. Yeah, these three particular idols. Lat, Uzza, and Manat. So they said to him that, why you call out to these two idols or these two names for? Call out to the one Allah. Yeah. So when Ikrimah heard this, he said, if Allah is the one that can only save us on the sea, then Allah is surely the only one that can save us on the land as well. And this is the first thing, or this was the thing of light penetrating his heart. Meaning the light of Islam started to penetrate his heart. When he knew that only Allah can save us on the sea, then automatically it's only Allah can save us on land as well. Yeah, when helpless on the sea, it's only Allah. When helpless on the land, it's only going to be Allah. So this is how Ikramah or started to the nur started to penetrate his heart. So and the now that he's started to make a sincere oath, he's started to make this oath with Allah. Ya Allah, I'm going to make an oath. I'm going to change my ways. I'm going to accept Islam. I'm going to change my ways. Yeah, you said to Allah, I am making an oath with you that if you relieve me from the difficulty, I will go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and put my hand in his hand, meaning pledge to him, make a pledge to him. Now, in this particular time, Ikrimah's wife also arrived there. Yeah, she also arrived and told him she had come from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She said to him that don't destroy yourself. I've got security for you. Don't worry. I've told Nabi, I've asked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam for security for you, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has accepted that as well. So don't worry. So you're safe. So when Ikrimah heard this, he went back with his wife back to Makkah. So before he even arrived in Makkah, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the companions that Ikrimah is coming as a believer. Allah Ta'ala already told Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that, or informed Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Ikrimah had accepted Islam. Then do not say anything bad about his father. Why? What do you think the reason for that is? When you say what happened, naturally what happens? When you start saying things about your family, even though they might be bad people, yeah, but when people start saying bad about the family, what happens naturally? It hurts you. Yeah, as a human being, my family, it still hurts you. You still have a bit of a negative impact on your heart. So this one, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told the Sahaba, don't say anything. Even though Abu Jahl was one of the worst people, even though he was one of the biggest enemies of Islam, yeah, but still do not say anything about Abu Jahl and just keep quiet about him. So now Ikrimah has arrived with his wife and stood in front of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he mentioned, this is my wife, and she says that you have given me security. Yeah. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, she has spoken the truth. Yeah, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam I have given you security. Now Ikrimah is asking that, what do you call towards? What is the thing that you call towards? The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned, okay, this is what I call. I call towards, I bear witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, that there is no God other than him, and I am Allah's messenger, and establish salah and discharge the zakah and give zakah also as well. So Ikrimah, as soon as he heard this, he replied the shahada. Yeah, he replied and he said the shahada, ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. And Ikrimah also asked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, forgive me. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness for everything that he's done. Remember, these people, they went through, they did a lot of things to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a lot of bad things to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After embracing Islam, everything is wiped out. Every single thing that you've done in the past is wiped out. Nothing stays. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he then said that the amount I used to spend, what did Ikrimah say after this happened? That Ikrimah said, the amount I used to spend stopping people from the path of Allah, I will now spend twice as much calling people to the path of Allah. And the way I used to fight against Allah is messenger, I'll make twice the effort in the path of Allah. So every single thing that this is Islam, beauty of Islam, that what they used to do against Islam, now that he's become Muslim, his efforts have increased. The love of Allah and His Rasul and His penetrations are in such a way that his efforts to call people towards Islam has increased twice, twofold. And this is exactly what happened with Ikrimah, what he started to do. He started calling people, those people he to stop, come to Islam, come to one Allah. Forget your gods, forget your idols, forget all these things. Come towards Allah subhanahu, come towards one true God. In the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, when the army was sent out against the apostate, Ikrimah radiallahu anhu was one of the leaders of one of the armies. He was martyred. He was martyred in battle of Ajnadain. And he mentioned that in battle of Ajnadain, there were more than 70 wounds on his body. From swords and arrows, he had more than 70 wounds on his body. This is the same person who was staunch enemy of Islam. The same person who was staunch enemy of Islam had died in a battlefield protecting the honor protecting, fighting for Islam, and he died with 70 wounds on his body, or sorry, more than 70 wounds. This is the beauty. This is when Islam penetrates the hearts of the Muslim, or penetrates the hearts. This is what Islam does. Remember, our our life in this world, our particular life in this world is very short. Our main focus is for the akhirah, and this is what the Sahaba radiallahu anhu had in the hadith. Yeah, Sahaba radiallahu anhu had it in the hadith. Our focus is only for the akhirah. Whatever happens in this world is very short. It'll come, it'll go, and that's it, finished. Very short. Our main focus is for the akhirah. And this is what they had in their hearts. And also, after he accepted Islam as well, he needs to recite the Quran. Yeah, every time he recites the Quran, he just cry. Just cry and crying to such an extent that sometimes he also become unconscious. He also somebody become unconscious. And when you read the Quran, the word that come out of his mouth were, this is the speech of my Rabb. This is the speech of my Rabb. This is the love that he had for Islam after he embraced Islam. I want to pass with a staunch enemy, but moving forward, became one of the beloved. So this is why again, when people change, past is past. Never bring the past up. Always look at the present and the future. The Habar ibn al-Aswad, again, he used to cause the Muslims a lot of problems. When the eldest daughter of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when she wanted to migrate to Medina Munawwara, so she left. This is after the Battle of Badr. So she left from there. Now, when she left from there, this particular person, Habar ibn al-Aswad, he got few people. He got few Quraysh trying to stop her from migrating to Medina. Then when she was also hamil, she was pregnant as well. So what he did, he caused her some kind of pain. Mustafa said with a spear. He hit her with a spear, which caused her to miscarriage. So this particular, she miscarriage, and this particular wound that was still there, this was the same wound which caused her death later on in the years as well. So this was the particular person who was kind of who was the criminal in causing harm to the daughter of Nabi, the eldest daughter of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Zainab radiallahu anha. So he came in the presence of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was in the Ji'rana and stood in front of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the companions present got up with the intention of going towards Habar and killing him. I mean, taking him out completely, taking him out. When Nabi sallallahu, when he saw his companion stand up to go and attack him, Nabi sallallahu just said, leave him. Nabi sallallahu told him, leave him. Then this again, the same person who caused harm to Nabi sallallahu by in a sense attacking his daughter, Zainab radiallahu anha, he's the same person that now he's saying, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Wahshi. I'm sure a lot of people heard of Wahshi as well. Then the slave that killed Hazrat Hamza radiallahu anhu, the beloved uncle Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So when Wahshi, when the Conquest of Makkah took place, Wahshi, he fled to Taif. He stayed in Taif, he fled to Taif. Now later on, he was also later on, he came to Medina and embraced Islam. And I forget, this is after Nabi went back to Medina again. He came to Medina and embraced Islam in Medina. So again, when in the time of Hazrat Bakr radiallahu anhu, Musaylim al-Kadhab, the one who proclaimed prophethood, in the time of Hazrat Bakr radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Bakr radiallahu anhu sent out the army to go fighting. Wahshi with the same person. With the same person with this arrow some obviously with a dagger or a spear. Some say dagger, Mustafa says dagger, and the narration is spear. Similar thing. So with the same weapon that he used to kill Hazrat Hamza radiallahu anhu, that was the same weapon that he used to kill the fake prophet means the Muslim kadhab. And Wahshi used to mention as well that with the same weapon, I did a very basic, I did the worst of acts, meaning killing the beloved uncle Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And with the same weapon, I did the most beloved act, meaning killing a person who claims to be a prophet. Ka'ab ibn Zubair, or Zuhair, sorry. Ka'ab ibn Zuhair used to write poetry against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He also fled Mecca and later went to Medina and embraced Islam. He then used to write. He then used to write poetry, in the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, praise of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the things, the collection in Sirah Mustafa, I mentioned the collection. The collection of the poetry is actually known as Banat al-Su'ad. The collection of poetry now. I'm not into poetry or anything like that. But if everyone wants to look at the poetry, maybe you can look at Banat al-Su'ad. If you find it, you look at it, maybe you can see what kind of poetry these Sahaba used to write, and how they used to have the love of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the things that he mentioned, one of the things he mentioned, say, Ya Rasul Malik, inna lisani ratikun, ma fatabtu id ana burun, aman al-lahm wal-'idham bi rabbi, thumma qalbi shaheed wa anta nadhiru. That, O Messenger of Allah, my tongue will make up for that harm which I caused you during my days of destruction and deviation. My flesh and bones have brought Iman in my sustainer. My heart then bears testimony that you are a warner from Allah. These are just obviously few snippets, you can say. But these people, these Sahaba, when they embrace Islam, and the poetry that they used to recite is something it's unimaginable. Poetry has a big impact. Even nowadays, where poetry, when naturally speaking, poetry has a very big impact in a person's learning and education as well. So if everyone wants to look at the poetry, look at the poetry of love on Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this will also help to create the love of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your hearts. There were also others that also embraced there were some were embraced Islam, and some obviously were killed. So Harith ibn Talatal was sentenced on the day. He used to speak ill of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was killed by Hadar Ali radiallahu anhu. Abdullah ibn Zibari, another person who used to write poetry against Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He fled to Najran and then came to Medina, where he presented some poetry in front of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to profess his faith. Habira ibn Abi Wahab Makhzumi fled to Najran on the day of Conquest of Makkah and passed away there in disbelief. He was the husband of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, cousin sister Hani radiallahu anha. So these are a few other people, that also what happened to them. Now, Hinda bin Utbah, she was the wife of Abu Sufyan, and she was the same person. She was the same person who told Wahshi, or she was the master of Wahshi, who told Wahshi to go and kill Hamza radiallahu anhu and also bring back his liver. And this was the same person now. So she is the same woman who desecrated the body of Hamza radiallahu anhu at the day of Uhud. She came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When she first came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she had a face covered because she was so disgraced in showing her face to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam for what she did. She didn't want to show her face to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam because she was, you can say, remorse. Out of full remorse, how can she show her face to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The thing that she did to the beloved uncle Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she asked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam for forgiveness, and she also embraced Islam as well. And then after she went home, broke every single idol and mentioned that it's because of you. It's because of you that we were deceived. The idol, shaitan, these are all, everything adds up. So you gotta be careful. The tricks of shaitan, are very, he's the master in this kind of field. We have to be very careful. We always have to protect ourselves at all times. But from these people, those who sought forgiveness and embraced were given security. Yeah, look at the forgiveness of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those people, they've always come, they've attacked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam from day one, from Makkah. They've not let Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam go. They've not let Sahaba go as well. Even Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they didn't let them go as well. Even then, after that, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was al-yawm yawm al-marhama, the day of mercy. Today is the day of mercy. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, rahmatul lil alameen, and forgiving them. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. Yeah, this is the mercy of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah. Other people also include Abu Quhafa, the father of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He came with his son, meaning Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did he say? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that because Abu Quhafa was very old. Abu Quhafa was very old, yeah, and weak. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu that told him to stay up, I would come to him. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no, it's better that he came with me to you, O Nabi of Allah. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yeah. So this is why even then, yeah, look at the honor. Nabi sallallahu, he didn't want Nabi sallallahu to get up from his place to come and he should show the honor and respect to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He told his father, no, you have to come to me to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to show the honor and respect to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed his blessed hands on his chest and then talqeen of the shahada. He then embraced Islam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam congratulated Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu on his father's reversion. Yeah, but Hazrat Bakr radiallahu anhu, he said to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Ya Rasulullah, my eyes would have been even cooler. My father just accepted Islam. My eyes are cool, yes. Then my eyes would have been even cooler if your beloved uncle, Abu Talib, had accepted Islam. So Nabi sallallahu, every single thing, look at Abu Bakr. He did not think about himself, he's thinking about Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anything that makes Nabi sallallahu more happy would be better for me. Anything that makes you more happy would be better for me. These are the Sahaba, these are the things that they sacrificed, the life they sacrificed, the time they sacrificed. Every single thing sacrificed for who? Only for Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you got also Safwan ibn Umayyah, who was one of the leaders of the Quraysh embraced. His father Umayyah ibn Khalaf had fallen in the battle of Badr. And then you got Suhail ibn Amr, who had come to negotiate the treaty of Hudaybiyah. Again, he embraced Islam later on. Yeah, but Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had a very good character. Suhail ibn Amr had a very good character, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam very intelligent. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned about him that he is one person. Don't say anything bad about him. He's a very intelligent person. It will be time before he come and embrace Islam. Yeah, because of his intelligence, because the way he is, because his character, the way he is as well, it will be a certain amount of time, and after he will come and embrace Islam as well. Then you've got Utbah and Mu'attab, who are the cousin of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or sons of Abu Lahab. Yeah. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Makkah, he asked about them. Yeah, they had left with some of the Quraysh. Abbas radiallahu anhu went and found them at Maqam Arna and brought them back to Makkah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam presented Islam to them and they embraced. They pledged allegiance on his hand. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then got up and held both their hands and took them to the Kaaba and stood by the Multazam. He supplicated there for a long time. He then returned from there and was smiling. The reason being he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for two sons of his uncle, and Allah ta'ala gave them to other gift to him. Meaning that when he asked Allah ta'ala to make them also embrace Islam. And so happened that them too also embrace Islam. Then you got Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, the son of Abu Sufyan. Yeah, Abu Sufyan, who the son of Abu Sufyan, he also embraced Islam as well. After Conquest of Makkah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed there for approximately 15 days. All the idols that were there in and around Kaaba were removed, and a call was made out. Man kan yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir fala yada' fi baydi sunnah. That whoever believes in Allah on the last day, then do not leave any idols in your house. When Makkah was cleansed of the idols, then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent a small group to clean the areas around Makkah as well. So now everything around Makkah is being cleaned up. Everything is being cleaned from the idol worshipping. Again, on the 20th of Ramadan, in the 8th year of the Hijrah, Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anhu was left as he said, and the Nabi sent him with 30 riders towards Uzza at Maqam Nakhla. Again, Uzza, one of the idols, mean to go there and to destroy them. It's approximately a day's journey. Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu was sent to Siwa, which was 3 miles outside Mecca. Yeah. When he reached there, the keeper asked Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu that with what intention you come for? They have come out on the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to destroy the idol. Yeah. The keeper, what did he say? That what did he mention? He said the owner, the idol, he'll protect himself. He said that's fine. If that's what you think, yeah, if that's what you think, then what you do straight away, he smashed the idol. Then after, as soon as he struck and smashed the idol, and then he said, okay, well, do you not think that think the idol can't hear, the idol can't do anything at all, the idol could even stop me from smashing the idol. This is he's trying to make the person, the keeper, understand. And in the end, the keeper, he embraced Islam as well. On 26th of Ramadan, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sent Sa'ad ibn Zayd Ashhari radiallahu anhu with 20 riders towards Mushalal, where Manat was. Again, another idol. The whole of Ramadan was spent cleansing the area. So just to quickly recap what we've gone through so far. So today we just went through some of the muhajirin who they got up initially to ask for the houses back. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he made them understand that it's better that these houses if they've gone, but we get the rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the akhirah. Yeah. Then went through some of the areas of Makkah, the areas of Makkah where the houses were and where the house of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and what is in nowadays. And then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam giving a general pardon to the Quraysh. Some embraced Islam, some of them didn't embrace Islam, some of them were given no amnesty at all. Even though they were near the Kaaba, again they were given no amnesty at all. Again, the reason why, because of they were to try to create the honor of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Then you've got the father of Abu Bakr who accepted Islam. You got other Sahaba also who accepted Islam as well. Wahshi accepted Islam, who also were the one to kill Musaylimah al-Kadhab. And then you've got all the other things that took place as well. So inshallah, this is the end of the Conquest of Makkah. Inshallah, next session which will take place with Mufti Yusuf. It won't be next week. It won't take place unfortunately. I'm not available next week. But Mufti Yusuf, inshallah, will come back for the next session after. Will be on the 4th of September. It will be Sunday after that. جزاك الله خير وأحسن الجزاء سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك